So I've been thinking about what could be the most important message to get across to anyone who may listen to this. Being as how we're right here, you can see that everything is it's going down, and we're about to read the final chapter in Revelations. So I was thinking about, like, what if there was one thing I could stress to you about this whole deal, what would it be? And I saw this video that was put out yesterday by MSNBC of all people. I want you to listen to this story of this Jewish army major who resigned. And I want you to think about what it means to be standing with Israel at this moment in time. Yeah, I stand with the Most High's people. Yes, I am one of the Most High's people. I stand with love and peace and justice and kindness and compassion, all that stuff. But what they're doing and who it is that's doing it and why they're doing it, if you stand with that, you're doing the opposite of what Messiah would do. I got a couple clips here. I want to show you this clip of this video here and let you listen to this Army major's testimony, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
U.S. Army Major Harrison Mann was on the back end of a 13-year career in the U.S. military, working in the Middle East Bureau of the Defense Intelligence Agency when he decided he had had enough. He had seen enough. As Israel's large-scale military response ramped up in the wake of October 7th and his workplace became more and more focused on the war, Mann said it was hard to separate his day-to-day work from the horrifying images coming out of Gaza that he had seen in the news. So on November 1st of last year, Mann, who is Jewish, became the first member of the Army to resign in protest of America's role in the war in Gaza. His resignation became effective this past Monday. He wrote in his resignation letter that the U.S. government's, quote, unqualified support of Israel has, quote, enabled and empowered the killing and starvation of tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians, end quote. He went on to say, quote, each of us signed up to serve, knowing we might have to support policies we weren't fully convinced of. However, at some point, it became difficult to defend the outcomes of this particular policy. At some point, whatever the justification, you're either advancing a policy that enables the mass starvation of children, or you're not, end quote. Joining me now is Major Harrison Mann himself, former executive director for the Defense Intelligence Agency. Major, thank you for being us.
Now, let me pause here for a second. You heard what he just said. I mean, at some point, you have to decide whether you're willing to stand behind the starvation of innocent little children and the bombing, dismembering, orphan making, all this, the horrors that are going on. You can't say and use the excuse that that's Israel defending themselves. Would Messiah want you to go outside? Would defending yourself to Messiah be bombing and starving little children that aren't breaking into your house? You're bombing them over there in their house and all the stuff that they're doing. There has to be a point where you have to draw a line, because the lines that they're crossing are lines that the Messiah and the Most High has set for us as believers, but just as people. If you say you're a good person, you can't honestly support what's going on over there. And isn't it a coincidence? I was wondering what if I could stress one thing in this last chapter of Revelations, when I read it to you, what would it be? Isn't it odd that watching this video let me know what it is that I need to stress to you, that I need to show you, share with you how this is a threshing floor. This whole thing, this is the judgment. You're witnessing the judgment, and how you vote, who you support, where you stand, is how you're being judged right now. And look at all the proof that I've brought you, all the examples, pieces of evidence that tells you where our true home is and who they are over there. All about the image of the beast. Look at how many stories and pieces of evidence I've showed you that's had my name on it. My last name's Harrison, and this guy's name's Harrison Man. And this is all about the coming of the son of Adam, of someone like Abel who gives, he goes all in when it comes to the cause. And isn't it a coincidence that this man's name is Harrison Man? But I'll let you know, he's nowhere near as good looking as me. Just throwing that out there. But watch his testimony and let me know. Well, we'll talk about it. Watch his testimony and we'll come back. You're going to want to hear what he has to say. Watch.
Appreciate your time. I want to ask you, when I tweeted out that you were going to be on the show, someone said, why didn't he just talk to the president first? I'm assuming it's as hard for you to talk to the president as it is for me to just talk to the president. But what is the process when somebody like you, who's serving in the military, who finds that they are a conscientious objector to something that's going on? What is the process, and how did it unfold for you?
Yeah, thank you for having me. And first, I'd like to clarify, I am not a conscientious objector, because that means you object to all war in all of its forms, which I do not. But I did object to the way that this war was being conducted, and the way that we, by which I mean the Department of Defense and then both my own office, were supporting the Israeli military as they conducted this war. And so the options for somebody in my position, especially in the uniformed military, are limited. You can kind of voice your concerns, but no one's under any obligation to do anything about them, or you can resign. I chose to do the latter. I did not feel comfortable talking about, how I felt about the war while I was in the office. As I wrote, I didn't know that anybody else agreed with me. I later discovered that many people did. But I didn't think that was something that I could talk about. And additionally, while I was resigning, I was also aware.
Now, this is the main thing that I want to share with you. In the last video, we read about the cowardly, the untrustworthy. We've been reading about it in Revelations. Notice that man said he was afraid to speak out. He knew what they were doing was wrong in Gaza. And he was afraid to speak out because he thought that he was the only one that felt that way. But come to find out, after he spoke out, a whole bunch of his comrades felt the same way. But it was because they were being cowardly. They didn't have the fortitude, the integrity, if you will, to draw a line and say, I don't care how much money you can pay me. I don't care what's in it for me. If this is what you guys are about, I can't work. When it comes to standing with Israel, the Messiah would never want you to stand in support in anyone that's doing what they are doing. And then you have to add on top of it that the people that are doing all this stuff that you're supporting, they're anti-Messiah. They don't even believe the Messiah has came. So there's nothing about standing with that place. There's nothing about it that the Messiah wouldn't have anything to do with any of that.
Of higher level discussions in the intel defense world about how seriously we were going to take legal concerns about our contribution to the Israeli campaign, and those did not give me confidence that had I chosen to try voicing my concerns and sending those up the chain of command, that I would have been listened to in a serious way.
Major, you're Jewish. Your grandparents escaped anti-Semitism in Eastern Europe. We're in a world of rising anti-Semitism. Last weekend, I spoke with Lindsey Greenberg Call, who resigned from the Interior Department for similar reasons. I want to play for you what she said about how her Jewish identity played into her decision.
I don't want to leave my Jewishness at the door when it comes to thinking about Israel. Like it goes against all the Jewish values I was raised with, to kill people, to starve them, to make people refugees.
That was Lily Greenberg Call.
Now, I want you to listen to this pastor that I heard after I watched that first video on this channel. And what he's saying is what most Christians, quote unquote believers, are saying right now. And notice the hypocrisy. Notice that, think about what he's saying and about what that man and that woman just said there at the end of that last clip. And think about what this pastor is going to say, and think about how does it line up with what the Messiah would do. Watch.
Only Pastor Larry Huch, pastor of New Beginnings Church in Bedford, Texas, president of Larry Huch Ministries, best-selling author many times over, and one of Israel's greatest friends in the world. He's also my friend.
Yes.
Pastor Larry, great to have you with us.
What a privilege to be with you.
Yeah, hey, about time. I've been wanting to do this with you for a while, so This is great. And for such a time as this, Pastor Larry, look, we've got a lot to unpack, the prophetic implications of everything unfolding in Israel right now, how it affects us in America, how it affects the body of Christ. First things first, you were in Israel shortly after October 7th.
Right.
And you've got some very powerful testimonies about what you saw on the ground.
Right.
What's your sense right now as Israel faces the most difficult period since 1948, really? What's your sense about the morale of the people of Israel and the spirit of Israel right now?
A lot of people ask me, Eric, when the war broke out, when Israel was attacked by literally these butchers. It's just, when I first came back, I said, what they did to civilians, to men, to women, to children, well, they're animals. And after I talked to people that survived it and people who had family that were hostages, I said, I want to apologize for calling them animals, because an animal wouldn't do that to another animal.
Okay, so an animal wouldn't do that to another animal. Well, what are the people that he's defending doing right now on a grand scale? That we're talking, they're thinking that there's already 100,000 people dead. There's definitely 40-some thousand dead, most of which are women and children, and then over 100,000 injured, and all the horrible stories, and we've seen it, where legs are being amputated with no anesthesia and pain medicine and just all this nasty stuff. But to go against Israel would go against these merchants, these people who work the sea, the lives of men for their living. It would go against their narrative, their agenda. And notice now how, when you see the truth in all this, you realize how schmug these people are. Like that host, the guy that's running this channel, he's like the worst, the cheapest used car salesman that I've ever seen. Like, it's so, ugh. And you know what I mean? It shows, if you're standing with them without having one word to say about it, and you're calling one side a group of animals, and you totally ignore all the evidence about the 560 villages that they wiped out in 1948, and the millions of people they've killed and tortured and displaced and all this stuff, and starved and bombed. And I mean, I seen pictures where that back in the 40s, they used to put them on these they used to put the people there, the people, on the front of these cars. They talk about human shields. They used to put them on the front of these cars on the railroad so they could go down the railroad tracks and they wouldn't get shot at, because they would have women and children strapped to the front of this car all the way around it. So these Chaldeans could get through there. And they ignore all that. And so it shows to the Most High, to all of us, who you really are. That's what he means by lifting the skirt. If you're going to stand with them and not say nothing about the starvation of innocent children, the bombing, all that, well, we clearly see who you are. Don't sit and bullshit me that you're this good Christian, wholesome Christian. You're the butcher. You have a mindset of a butcher. You're looking at them people like they're meat, like they're objects.
It was what I saw over there. And then the reason I went over there was I was hearing on liberal media, it's not as bad as they're saying. Even Israel did it themselves.
There were no rapes.
Yeah, the no rapes. And so I said, and we have these.
And most of which of that stuff they're talking about has been debunked. All them lies that they said, the lies that Biden, they said they watched the videotapes of babies getting put in ovens and all that stuff. It's all been lies. Look at all the proof of their propaganda machine. They were just caught the other day with making fake Facebook accounts over here and spreading their propaganda. And it's been that way the whole time. All the people that's been done resigned and been fired and been caught lying, making up false stories. And the Christians, they only want to talk about those things, but they don't want to talk about the facts that are here. We see the bombing and the destruction of that place. We see that. We know that's going on, don't we?
Quote unquote prisoners of war. And so I said, I'm going over there. And I went over there, and number one, the Jewish people were overwhelmed that a Christian would come. And I was able to share with them, because they're seeing all the news with the college demonstrations, with all these college students, from the river to the sea. And I said, listen, they are the loud minority. There are Christians all over the world, Americans, that are saying we're standing with Israel. Israel not only has the right, but they have the obligation to defeat Hamas and defeat these enemies. And they were so encouraged because they felt.
If anyone can see that you're being a total, someone is being a total hypocrite that would talk like that pastor was talking right there without laying out the evidence for both sides. He can't say that he can't act like he's preaching the Messiah, but at the same time he's defending the starvation and the bombing of innocent little children and all this stuff that's happened. Okay. And he was talking about they couldn't believe it that a Christian was there because they can't stand Christians. They must have forgot that what was going on before October 7th, how all over the news we were seeing how they were spitting on Christians and beating them half to death. And it was they didn't want them there. They had to separate the Christians that were on tour there on the Holy Land tours from the Jewish people that were there. If they could get the Noahide laws instituted, they would behead you as a Christian for saying that you're a Christian, for saying that you believe in Messiah, that the Messiah has came in the flesh. They are anti-Messiah. All that evidence that proves, I mean, there's no argument that they're anti-Messiah. that whole institution. And if you just want to keep going, the government, Netanyahu and them, are secular. They actually are Kabbalah, which is the congregation of Satan. That's what this end looks like. That's what Revelation has been telling us, that the end looks like when the Messiah comes, he's given up those who say they are Yahudim, but are not, but lie, the congregation of Satan. They don't think about all this. If you look at all the evidence, you'll see that you have to rule that place out. You have to rule it as it is, as a fraud, as a counterfeit, an imposter. The Most High told us that when we return, it will be a decisive end, overflowing with righteousness. Period. Where's the righteousness over there? What decisive end overflowing with righteousness? All we see is murder, debauchery. All we see is the congregation of Satan now that skirt has been lifted. And once you realize that that's the image of the beast, it's the abomination that lays waste, and that they've produced the man of lawlessness, they've lied about everything, it's all been a scam, a con job. Once you realize that, you can say, well, where is my true home? Start looking on the map. It won't take you long, and you'll see us. You'll find out where it is, and you can come home 3 times a year. You can come in and come out and count your blessings, baby. You ain't going to be able to count them. And that's all the Most High wants. He wants you to understand how the enemy is humiliating you and him and his tent, where he placed his name, all that stuff. He wants you to care. He wants you to actually care about him and this whole deal. The Lamb would not be standing with a bunch of secular congregation of Satan, genocidal maniacs that are starving and bombing little innocent children, spraying white phosphorus over top of the heads of the people. He would not. So you have a decision to make. This is the end. This is the day of judgment. The Word is judging you. The Word is where you're supposed to stand. That's who you stand with the Most High, with his mighty, righteous, right ruling right hand. Not with murderous scumbags who would chop your head off if they had the opportunity to do so. You guys need to wake the heck up. And he showed me a river of water of life, clear as crystal, coming from the throne of the mighty Most High and of the Lamb. From the throne, okay? This is all riddle and code, remember? The Most High tells us. He says, I speak in riddles of old. I speak in parables. So, this river of water of life, he's telling you this is the truth coming from the true throne that you need to follow. It leads to your deliverance, to your life, if you want to live. That's that. When he said in that day, people will prefer death over life. Right now, that life, deliverance has been made manifest. It's been revealed. The truth that's been for so long without fruit has been revealed. And it is that 3 times a year we have a house, we have a home. The Most High has a house where he placed his name, and we dwell with the Most High. We engage in a lovingly committed relationship with him. And the rest of it is death. Anything else is death. So the Lamb, and that's what the Lamb represents. The Lamb represents everything I just said in a nutshell. In the middle of its street, that highway, for you to come home. And on either side of the river was the tree of life. The tree of life. The tree of death, what the Kabbalah, what them Netanyahus and them types call, and they all use it. Trump's got it on his wall in his office, the Kabbalah tree. They call it the tree of life, but I assure you it's the tree of death. If you look at its doctrine, what it teaches, and go read in Genesis where the serpent, what the serpent told Eve to convince her to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you'll see it's the exact same doctrine. It was more simple probably back then. They've enhanced it, since then. But that's what it is. It's the same foundation. And the foundation is that you don't need the Most High. You don't need to listen to him. You can call the shots, and you can be like the Most High. Just how they think, right? How they operate. They say everyone else is like Goyim. Why, they are murderous scumbags. Psychopathic, genocidal psychopaths. It's clear to see the skirts done ripped all the way off, my friends. It's clear to see who we're talking about here. So, the tree of life is the opposite of that. It's bowing down to our Creator, to the one who does call the shots. When you understand your role, you know what I mean? You don't just, when you're 3 years old, you don't tell your dad how things are going to be, do you? If you have a dad. Well, we do. He's the one that calls the shots. We follow his golden rule, and that's coming in and coming out 3 times. Go read Exodus 33. Go read it. You'll see. It's all about being in a lovingly committed relationship, engaged with him. Why not? Ain't that what it's about, right? Yes. So if our true house hit the place where he put his name has been hidden, and we've been lied to about it by these genocidal maniacs, don't you think it's worth looking into? Yeah. And coming in and coming out? Yes. That's that tree of life, which bore 12 fruits, 12, wink, wink, for the children of the Most High, the tribes of Yasharal. Each tree yielding its fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. This is the word that guides you to your rest, to your home. That's where the healing is. Without your home, you're not healed. You're sick. You're wounded. Grievously wounded. And no longer shall there be any curse. See, that's what the curse is. That the world is wounded, and they don't realize it. And the throne, see, it has everything to do with the throne. This is a Game of Thrones, wink, wink. And that's what that show is all about. That's why this spinoff's called The House of the Dragon, because the world has been hoodwinked by the House of the Dragon. Yes, it has. And the throne of the Most High, see, when the curse is gone, the throne of the Most High and the Lamb shall be in it. And his servants shall serve him. When you come in, you're serving him. If you can't come in, if you refuse this and laugh at this, guess what? You ain't serving him. So if you ain't serving him, guess who you're serving? I hate to break it to you. You're serving the dragon, the beast, the image of the beast, the false prophet, all that stuff. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be upon their foreheads. Oh, you're laughing at this? You think this is funny? All this stuff I've been sharing with you, we clearly see whose name's on your forehead, don't we? And night shall be no more, and they shall have no need of a lamp or the light of the sun. This is all riddle code. The night is what we've been in. We've been in the night time. We've been blinded to where our true home was. All these truths, all these great pearls. It's going to be over for all of us living in Mount Zion, coming in and coming out. There'll be no more night. And we'll have no need of a lamp or the light of the sun, because the Most High, Yahuwah, shall give them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. And he said to me, these words are trustworthy and true, and Yahuwah, the mighty Most High of the set-apart prophets, see, of the prophets, urging you to go read the prophets and take it from the top, get all of it. The Most High of the set-apart prophets has sent his messenger to show his servants what has to take place with speed. And the prophets showed us that it would be this return that I'm telling you about, the second Exodus, where we will physically have to go if we want to. Just think about it. Do you want to go to the kingdom or not? If you can't even look at this, you obviously don't want to go. You don't care. You think this is all just a big game, a joke. See, I am coming speedily. Blessed is he who guards the words of the prophecy of this book. The prophecy of this book is, well, basically it is what the prophets speak. It's all that tree of life. It's all the Lamb. It's all guiding you back to your true home, where the power is, where the blessing is, away from where the curse is and death, the land, back to the land of the living. So blessed is he who guards those words. And remember, the name Hazon, which is what this book is titled, it's not Revelations, it's Hazon. So Hazon means the location of the house. Yes, it does. Go look into it. And I, John, saw and heard these matters, and where I heard and saw, I fell down to worship before the feet of the messenger who showed me these matters. And he said to me, see, do not, for I am your fellow servant, and of your brothers the prophets, and of those who are guarding the words of this book. Worship the Most High. Only worship the Most High. And he said to me, do not seal the words of the prophecy of this book, because the time is near. He who does wrong, let him do more wrong. Look, he just said, do not seal up the words of this prophecy, of this book. When he's talking, he who does wrong, he's talking about he who does wrong in the word, who errs in what the word's saying. He who does wrong in that, let him do more wrong. And that's what happens. They keep carrying themselves off into death. If they don't ever put their Berean boots on and take it from the top and get all of this word, the context, baby, they're only going in the wrong direction. He who is filthy, let him be more filthy. He who is righteous, let him be more righteous. He who is set apart, let him be more set apart. And see, I am coming speedily. My reward is with me to give to each according to his work. Who is this? Who's coming speedily to give the reward to each according to his work? He says, I am the Aleph and the Tah, the word, the context. That's what he's saying. This is what this word is telling you, that you have to go to the word. You got to read it, all the prophets especially. and Psalms and Proverbs and Messiah. Blessed are those doing his commands, so that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life, and to enter through the gates into the city. See, blessed are those doing the commands, the words, the instructions that are in the word, so that the authority is yours to the tree of life. That's the Lamb that's coming home. And that authority is found in the word. But outside are the dogs and those who enchant with drugs and those who whore and the murderers and the idolaters and all who love and do falsehood. All even who love falsehood. That place is straight falsehood. Go prove me wrong. If you can't even look into it, boom, there's your answer. I, Yahusha, have sent my messenger to witness to you these matters in the assemblies. I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star. Come home. That's what that means. And the Spirit and the bride say, come. See? And he who hears, let him say, come. And he who thirsts, come. And he who desires it, take the water of life without paying. You ain't got to pay. All you got to do is read and move your feet. And he'll bring you right out here nice and gentle. I promise you. And you're going to love every second of it. It's going to be your song. You're going to be singing that renewed song of the Lamb and of Moses back to your land of your inheritance, to the place the Most High placed his name. For I witness to everyone hearing the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds to them, the Most High shall add to him the plagues that are written in this book. If anyone takes away the words of the book of this prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part from the book of life and out of the set apart city which are written in this book. See, the book of life, and anyone who lives is going to be in the book of life. If you ain't in the book of life, you ain't living. The book of life and the set apart city go hand in hand. They're like love and marriage. You can't have one without the other, my friend. You got to want this city. It's got to be written on your foreheads. We got to see it in you coming from eons away. He that bears witness of these matters says, yes, I am coming speedily. It is, yes, come Master Yahusha. The favor of our Master Yahusha Messiah be with the set apart ones. Yes, sir. The favor of Yahusha Messiah, he's the Word, the Lamb, the Lamb. The favor, when you see this truth and you come in and come out, brace yourself for all the favor and the blessing and the deliverance that you will have. You'll obtain. Brace yourself. Take a look around. If you ain't coming in and coming out, you're surrounded, engulfed in death and Sheol. Outside the city is where the winepress of the wrath of Abba Yahuwah, the Most High, our wonderful Creator, our righteousness is. Best right now, turn your body in the direction of his throne. Get on your face, come back home, and give him all honor, all praise, all glory, and all esteem, baby. All the time.